Peace be upon you all and welcome to the channel. In this final video we will discuss sentence structures, and we will also discuss a few words that I forgot about in the previous video, and at the end of this lecture we will also cover a reading exercise, a listening exercise, and speaking and writing exercises as well. So before I forget, there is the word in. I believe I forgot to mention it, which means fee. Fee. In or inside. I'll write it here. Inside. Okay. Then, if you recall the word an that I was struggling to define, the reason is it does not normally mean what I'm about to write. Sometimes it does. However, you will have to practice Arabic further to be able to understand the particular context in which this word is used. But generally speaking, it would mean about. So if I say عني, this is the suffix for the accusative I. So here this means me. So together it would be about me. So you'll have to pay attention to the prefixes and suffixes, because in Arabic the accusative and the dative forms as well as the possessive pronouns, they are all attached to the word, as opposed to English or German or French, where the words are separate. So I would highly and strongly recommend memorizing the suffixes, and once we tackle sentence structures, you can experiment by yourself, creating different sentences. Simple sentences, of course, not complex sentences. We also have the word now, and that word is el. And there are other methods to write this word, but to adhere with the elongation hamza that we discussed earlier, you can write it as such. This is a correct form. And as you can as you can hear, there is an elongation, but there is also a hamza, that guttural sound you hear, and so that is an elongation hamza. Whenever you hear a hamza followed by a alif vowel or alif mat, know that this is an elongation hamza or hamzat mat. Also, a correction that I would like to make with the types of hamzas within the middle, the end of the word. The end of the word. One of them was a ya with the hamza at the edge, and I remember deleting the two dots. That is my mistake. I was actually reviewing the sources that I learned from, and you can write it as either with or without the dots. They are both correct, because like I said before, dots were added later on. They were never part of the Arabic language in the beginning. And I also would like to apologize for my shortcomings that day. I had a rather unpleasant encounter with the past, so yeah, it distracted me a bit, but I apologize for that. So actually I will leave it because we are done. Now let us start with again, if I forget any other words. Oh, actually I just remembered one. Thankfully I remembered before continuing. After is bad. Bad. And for, this would be a bit interesting to define. For would be a prefix of a lam before you attach it to the word. For example, if I want to say for you. Now, since you here is in the accusative or the dative syntax, they do not differ in Arabic. They both have the same suffix. What was the suffix for you? Let us say this is singular masculine. A you singular masculine. The suffix for the accusative or dative form was a kaf at the end of the word with a fatha. And I want to say for you. So what will I do? I will simply attach the lam. Actually, let me put a fatha here. So I would say laka, for you. For you. You can also use min, however, with min, because if you recall, min is from. You can use min, but you must use a word after it. Min ajl. And you add the respective suffix. Min ajlika for you, min ajliki for you, singular feminine, and so on and so forth. So I'll just put it here. Min ajli. You can use that as for as well, but you must use it in this form. You cannot say min and say the suffix min ka. That means from you. But if you want to say for you with min, you can say min ajli ka, min ajliki, min ajlikuma, and so on and so forth. It is quite important for you to be familiar with the suffixes with regards to the pronouns. So that is for, actually I will leave it here. Also another word that I remembered, thank God, is with. And that means ma'a. And remember, you will attach the suffix to the word. It will not be ma'a and then the suffix. So if I want to say with you, I will say ma'aka. With you. And so on and so forth with other suffixes, I mean. Now we will move on to two nouns that I would also like to add to your dictionary. Righteousness, or it could also be right. It is difficult to define this upcoming word because in Arabic the meaning is slightly different than in English, so this is as close as I could translate. So the right, not the side right, the right in terms of law, righteousness as well. And that word is haqq. Haqq. And this is a masculine noun, هذا حق. And it is also al-haq, so not a-haq. So that means it is a lunar lamb or lamb qamariya. The opposite of haq, or the opposite of righteousness, you can call it evil. You can call it good too here, though that is a weak definition because good does have a different word in Arabic. But if you're talking about good versus evil, you would definitely use this word instead. Evil, you can say wickedness. Justice does not fit here, though in context it does. However, there is a different word for justice, which we will cover after we finish with this one, God willing. You could say wrong as well, but these two are stronger. Wrong, if you're saying good, right and wrong, this has a different meaning. However, if you are attributing evil to a wrongful act, then we will use this word. And that is the word باطل. باطل. And that is masculine noun. هذا باطل. الباطل. So that means this is a lunar lamb. Lastly, let us take justice and injustice. And God forbid you are unjust to someone, because the judgment for that in the hereafter is incredibly, well, let us say vindictive. Justice is عدل. عدل. And we will say هذا عدل. Masculine. العدل. So it would be a lunar lamb. Then we have injustice. And that is ظلم. And this word is derived from the word darkness in Arabic, which is, so darkness is ظلام. The reason injustice is called ظلم or derived from darkness is because people who are unjust and tyrannical in the day of judgment, they are shrouded in darkness. The reward matches the deed. So they are shrouded in darkness, in terrifying darkness, for what they have done to people in terms of injustice and wickedness. And that is هذا. It is a masculine noun. هذا ظلم. And the lamb here is الظلم, not الظلم, which means it is a solar lamb, not a lunar lamb. And that is about it for extra nouns. Now let us start with, actually I will add the adjectives for a just person. Just here is, I will add as adjective. That is عادل. عادل. An unjust person. And I have to say, I admire the ignorance of people online who claim to be just and fair in their online communities, but when the situation is tested, their metal shows that they are not only unjust, but they are also evil. Unjust. ظالم. ظالم. And remember, actions speak louder than words. A reply is always what is seen, not what is heard. So these are two adjectives pertaining to justice and injustice. Now, let us start with sentence structure. A sentence in Arabic is similar or perhaps even the same as a sentence structure in English or French. I do not want to say German because in German there are certain verbs or certain conditions that place I would not say verbs. I would actually say conditions that place verbs at the end, such as the word because. It places the verb at the end of the sentence, so I cannot make any comparisons to German. Actually, before we cover, I apologize about that. I just remembered another word I would like to add. As I said, this is not scripted, so I apologize. We covered in, which is if, a conditional if. So it asks for if, then. There is also inna. So this has a sukun. This is a very ugly sukun. There we go. Inna. If you hear it twice, it is automatically shadda. Inna is the start of a declaratory statement or a declaration. So if I want to say, the people of this village are nice, in a declaratory manner, I would start the sentence with inna as a declaration. That is how I would start the sentence. Also the word anna could be used as how, in addition to kaifa, if you recall from the previous video. But anna is normally used for surprises. If you are surprised by an act and you say, how is this possible? You would say anna. Kaifa could be inquisitive or is used normally for inquisitions. How do you do this? How do you do that? And so on and so forth. Okay, no more additions. Let us start with sentence structure. Sentence structure. So a normal sentence would have a subject, a verb to indicate an action, and an object. One that is affected, so the subject is the one that does the verb, and the object is one that is affected by the verb. So by transitive properties, the object is affected by the subject. That is a typical sentence structure, and subjects and objects are normally nouns. In Arabic, we have the same structure, though at intermediate and advanced levels. If I am meant to make a video tutorial series covering such levels, we can cover different sentence structures that are not the traditional that are not traditional or conventional structures. So in Arabic, we have the subject that starts the sentence is called mubtada. Mubtada. It is really difficult to write the dots with this graphics tablet. Mubtada. Mubtada. Just darken this. That is the subject. So the beginning of the sentence starts with mubtada, and this is derived from the word bidaya. Bidaya, which is beginning. Bidaya. This word means beginning. So a mubtada is the subject of the sentence or the beginning of the sentence. You will always find it in the beginning. Well, actually, I should not say always, because there are different sentence structures, but for this level, we have a mubtada that will always start a sentence. Either a noun or a pronoun will start the sentence, and we call this mubtada or the subject. Then we covered that the word verb means fi'l. As a noun, but fi'l is also a verb, and we covered the conjugation for it in its respective lecture. The object here is known as khabar. Khabar. And the word khabar as a noun, linguistically speaking, not grammatically speaking, means news or information. And the word, the verb to inform someone is derived from this one here. And I will use the present tense conjugation for he. Yukhbir. 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 As you can see, there are similarities in the spelling. So khabar linguistically means news or information. Grammatically, it means the object. However, the definition does settle here nicely, because the object informs you of the rest of the sentence or the actions taken in a sentence. That is why it is called khabar. So in Arabic, the flow of the sentence will be in this direction. I simply wrote it from left to right for the translation, but we will actually start writing from right to left now. Let us take an example. 3 words only. So in English, let us say I want to say boycott, the imperative form, boycott the French products. And yes, we do have exclamation marks in Arabic. So I will underline here, and I will circle here, and I will create a square here. When I write the words in Arabic, the matching words will have that structure either surrounding them or lying beneath them to indicate the match, because I am writing from right to left. So boycott here, you do not have an accusative. it is implied that you are speaking to a singular person or multiple people. However, in Arabic, you have to explicitly state the accusative or the one you are speaking to. So the imperative for boycott is قاطعوا قاطعوا. Up until here, that is the accusative for a singular person. When you see the waw and the alif, the silent alif, you automatically think of you plural, because this, as we said before, is called waw al-jama'a, or the waw of multiples. قاطعوا. So I will add, let me remove this. I will add a line here. قاطعوا. L. So this is the L. المنتجات and this has a square. Actually, I will do the under the shapes in a different color. قاطعوا المنتجات. L, again, the. And this is an Arabicized word. It is not actually Arabic. الفرنسية. الفرنسية. سية 2 times. الفرنسية and exclamation mark. And this will be a circle. So الفرنسية is the adjective form for فرنسا, which is France in Arabic. So فرنسية is French, and منتجات here is plural to منتج, which means product, which is also derived from the word إنتاج, which means production or manufacturing, depending on the context. This is the singular. The plural for it is a feminine plural. How do we know a feminine from a masculine plural? With this. Let me choose. How do you choose? Okay, so I guess I'll choose this. Oh, that is actually too bright. Let me choose a darker. There we go. This is called تاء التأنيث, the feminine ta. So normally if you see a ta at the end of a plural, it means this noun has become feminine, even if it is masculine as singular. Which means that فرنسية, you will use a feminine adjective. If you were speaking about a masculine adjective, you will remove the ta marbuta. So this is called feminine ta. Feminine ta. Okay, let us go back to black. Well, what if I want to say even if they apologize? So boycott the French products even if they apologize. So let me try this and see what happens. Yeah, as I suspected, I cannot. Oh wait, maybe this one. Can I move it here then? You know what? I'll do another sentence instead. That way I do not complicate the matters. So yeah, and I would like to remind my brothers and sisters around the world, especially in France, with this trend. I think this is Twitter, I do not really know, or Instagram. It should be somewhat different, but because we do not have the judicial jurisdiction over Macron and his government, it will stay as this for now. Bring them to their knees with this. Since they are capitalists, we will hurt them where they love the most. And from here, I would also like to thank my Muslim brothers and sisters in all around the world, really, for their reactions towards what the French government did. But I would in particular like to thank the Pakistani, the Bengali, the Senegali, the Yemeni, and the Kuwaiti people. I only mention those because those are the ones that I've actually seen. I heard about the boycotts around the world, but I have actually seen pictures and videos of what the people did in those particular countries, and from here I would like to thank them and express my deep gratitude and appreciation for their efforts. I would also like to thank Muhammad Habib, the UFC fighter, or I should say the ex-UFC fighter. I believe he retired, for his wonderful post towards Macron. Yes, as I said, Muslim first, teacher second. Okay. So let us take a simpler sentence. Let us say I go to the store. And full stop. Yes, we also have full stops in Arabic. So as before, let me underline here, circle here, square here, and a trapezium here. That is always attached to the noun in Arabic. So I will say, if what do you think I is ana, the pronoun ana. Go is, if you recall, the verb is dhahaba, past tense. Present tense combined with conjugation for ana is adhab. We always add the prefix hamza, cutting hamza, before the verb. Ana adhab. أذهب. To is إلى. إلى. Remember, it is a pseudo alif, not a ya. إلى. The store is al is the. Al mit. Al mit. Jar. Full stop. So let us use this. Is for I. This, oh sorry, it was a circle. This is go. This is to. And this is store. I, the subject, go, verb, to the store, and here. So this is the subject, and this is the object, to the store, or the khabar. So I go, where are you going? To the store. Oh yes, so now you have informed me that you are going to the store, hence the term khabar. Let us take another example to show the sentence structure. Let us say I return. Instead of I, let us change to he. Returns. And remember, instead of using I, if you say here, for example, Muhammad goes to the store, the subject will be Muhammad, of course, not I, not he. He returns from the market or the marketplace. Actually, let us take this as a question instead, because we also have question marks in Arabic. So let us say, has he returned from the market? Has he returned from the market? Now, how would I mention this in Arabic? And I believe what I am covering in these sentences has been taught in the previous lecture. If I have not taught any of this in the previous lecture, I apologize, but I will be writing the translation in Arabic as well. So I apologize. I know I did not teach market, but I will mention it here, and since it is a noun, you can add the name to your vernacular easily. So how would I ask has he or has she or have they in Arabic? It will be هل. I believe I did mention this in previous videos, and for some reason I am having difficulties with the lam. هل عاد, that is the past tense of return, the verb to return. This is the past tense, and since it is he, this is automatically conjugated. هل عاد هو from, من, the market is السوق, derived or actually the verb to shop is تسوق, which means to shop at the market. من السوق. And as you can see, the question mark is facing to the right side, not the left side. السوق, if you see a shadda right after a lam from the, that automatically means a solar lam or lam shamsiyya, not qamariyya. So it would be السوق, not al, that is incorrect. السوق, incorrect. السوق, correct. So let us هل هو and let us use the trapezium again. I'll underline it twice. هل عاد هو, or if you say has Ahmed returned, you would say هل عاد أحمد من, from, السوق. Oh, I forgot to mention yes in Arabic. Yes is نعم. نعم. There is also another word, بلى. However, this is used in certain circumstances which we will not cover to avoid confusing you. But as a piece of trivium, بلى is used if you are asking a question, a certain question, a close-ended question that requires a yes or a no for an answer. You use this to indicate yes, and you use this to indicate no. I know it sounds confusing, which is why I will not cover it, because we have to take the conditions first and when do we apply bala and naam. So do not focus on this for now, just focus on this. Naam, the opposite of la, which is no if you're using it with a noun, or not if you're using it with a verb. Okay, now let us take a longer sentence so I can show you commas as well and semicolons. Let us say, when the sun sets, comma, we break our fast. Because we are in Ramadan, and I would like to say Ramadan Mubarak to all of my brothers and sisters all over the world. تقبل الله منا ومنكم الصيام والقيام اللهم آمين. تقبل Allah means may Allah accept as-siyam, the fasting, and al-qiyam, praying at night. And Amin is Amen in English, though I do not know if it is originally English or perhaps from a different dialect, or perhaps a different root altogether. Okay. I would say it is from a different language, because Amin is not Arabic. It is, I believe, Abyssinian, if I recall correctly, perhaps. I'll have to review that. So when the sun sets, we break our fast. When here is not an inquisitive word. It is in a statement. So we will not use meta, if you recall. When here we will use حين. I do not recall if I covered that in the previous video or not. I think I covered lamma, if I recall correctly, lamma. But hina is better here. Is used is a better word here. Hina تغرب. This is the present tense form for to set. For she, because sun is feminine. تغرب, too far away. تغرب الشمس. And if you have answered it is a solar lamp, you earned a good deed. الشمس تغرب الشمس. The commas are inverted in Arabic, which means that if you are writing a semicolon, the dot will be beneath it, not above it. So here it looks like a waw in English. In Arabic it looks like a 6, which is also Arabic. I mean the number 6. We break. So instead of saying نحن, we can fuse we with break here through a prefix. This word looks ugly. So breaking our fast, we do not have a verb that says break accusative form fast. Breaking our fast is to break one's fast in Arabic is one word, not multiple words. So I am trying to highlight that to avoid confusion. So we will not be adding our here, though I will show you another variation that is literally break our fast. نفطر. نفطر. And this is to show you another variation for writing verbs. Instead of using the pronoun and the verb, we fuse the verb together, verb with the pronoun, but with a prefix instead of a suffix. The prefix for we here is نون فتحة. نفطر حين تغرب الشمس نفطر. And this is why Arabic is simpler, because it saves up on space, as you can see here. But you do not have to focus on this for now. This is intermediate level. Break our fast. Here will be نكسر. Though we do not really say نكسر. كسر means breaking. To break. نكسر, we break. نكسر. But no one says نكسر صيامنا. Fast is صيام, our fast. Remember the suffix for our. So it would be صيامو. Up until here is the end of fast. Here is our in the suffix. You do not have to focus on this sentence too much. I simply wanted to show you the comma. What if I want to say this is her dog? I will say, let me just highlight here, 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 and here, here. This is هذا or هذه, depending on the gender of this noun here, because this is, it refers to the dog. If it is the masculine form of dog, you would say هذا. If it is the feminine form of the dog, you would say هذه. Her is a possessive pronoun, which is one of the suffixes that we talked about for she. هذا كلب, that is dog. كلب, and this is where it ends. And كلب, and what was the suffix? كلبها. So her is here. And dog is here. And this is هذا. هذا كلبها. And the full stop, of course. And I should fuse this a bit. Yep, there you go. So these are just examples for sentence structures. I would recommend you create sentences using the words that I taught you. If you would like to use words from outside what was covered in the videos, feel free to do so. I would actually encourage that. That way you can expand upon your vocabulary and learn more. And perhaps even you can correct me, because I am certain I made a mistake in one of these videos. Unfortunately, and I am guilty of this, I have fallen victim to the American invasion. So when they were teaching us in our schools, they did not strengthen our Arabic in hopes of having us forget our language, and as such we cannot recite or learn or read the Quran. So that is why most of us Arabic speakers are better in English than Arabic. It is not because they care about us or that they want to teach us a new language. It is a plot to have us forget our native language so that we cannot become good Muslims. Because for you to become a Muslim, you have to know the Quran, because the Islamic teachings are either in the Quran or in the Prophet's sayings, and they both complement one another, though the main portion is the Quran, and the Prophet's sayings either confirm what is mentioned in the Quran or adds to the Quran. Such as praying, for example, or performing the liturgy. In the Quran, it does not show us how to pray, the actual movements, but we know how to pray from what the Prophet said and did. He said, "Pray as I do." And he showed his companions, and the companions taught the descendants, and so on and so forth, until we obtained the information or the knowledge. Okay, now we will cover different exercises. So I will be using the browser here instead of Clip Studio, or Manga Studio as it was known before. So I have prepared a few verses from the Quran as practice. You may see certain strange annotations, such as this one right here. Ignore those for now. Those are for reciting the Quran itself. And this is a different Arabic calligraphy than what was taught in these videos. So do not focus on these. These are solely for teaching Arabic. So anything extra, ignore it for now. I will be covering these in the Quranic recitations tutorial, inshallah, and God willing, which will, depending on my schedule, I may finish it next week, inshallah, bi'ithnillah. So we will cover these extra annotations. Here, if you can see, let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, I can zoom in. This symbol right here, this accent, is one of the accents I told you about regarding connecting hamzas. They are drawn as such. This is the cutting hamza, of course, and the best part about the Quran, or well, I should not say the best part, in the Quran, every single letter has a diacritic except vowels, and some letters that have a sukun do not have a diacritic. Other than that, all the letters have diacritics, as opposed to actual Arabic books. Some books do not place diacritics on most of their letters, which may be confusing for the reader or the learner, which is why I thought reading the Quran, firstly, because Quran is our fiduciary, and secondly, because all the letters have diacritics. So I thought it would be easier for people. So we will cover reading first, and we will take a few verses as examples. Qaf dhamma is qu, and lam sukun is l. Qul, apologies, qul, qul. And I actually enjoy this website because it has the English translation here, and this is the source material for the translations. And you can also hover on the word and it mentions the translation. However, for you to be fully able to enjoy and fully understand the Quran, you must learn Arabic, because as you have seen in these videos, to truly capture the essence of an Arabic word is rather difficult in English because of the barrier in translations or transliterations as well. So from what I read, these translations suffice, though it would be best if you learn Arabic and then read the Quran to actually appreciate and enjoy the verses. Qul. Let us take this word. And when you are practicing reading, what I would recommend for you to do is say the letter and an accent if it has an accent, then the diacritic, then pronounce the letter individually. Move to the next letter, repeat, move to the next letter, repeat, move to the last letter, repeat, and then say the entire word. I feel that helps cement the pronunciations better, and also helps with the reading. If you wish to do it otherwise, it is up to you. This is your reading exercise. Alif, Hamzat Qat' or cutting Hamza, Fatha is A. Ain, Dhamma, U. Waw, mad, how did we know? It does not have a diacritic, which means it is sukoon. And the letter before it has a diacritic derived from it. So this is waw mad, is woo. Zal, dhamma, ذو أعوذ أعوذ. And this is a verb conjugated for I, because it has a hamza here, and as you can see, I seek refuge. This is what the verb means, I seek refuge. Say, there are 13, I believe 13 inquisitions in the Quran where people ask the Prophet a question, and God tells the Prophet to tell the people قُل. So whenever you say قُل, most likely a person or a companion of the Prophet asked the Prophet a question, and God revealed the answer through the Quran. I believe they were 13, if I recall correctly. Only one of them does not have قُل, and that is the verse وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. When someone asks you about me, tell them that I am always close and I respond to their prayers should they pray for me. And the reason there is no قُل in that verse is because adding the word قُل could be interpreted as increasing the gap or the distance between God and humans. And to show that God is actually close, he did not put an intermediary. So the Prophet was not an intermediary through the word قُل here, to indicate the closeness, because Allah sees and hears everything. So if you pray to Allah, and to show you that Allah is close by, in case you ever forget, through conditions, someone may lose face at some point through obstacles or challenges, you always remind yourself that Allah or God is close, and remember that verse. So say, I seek refuge. Be, ba kasra, be, and this is a prefix. It is added to a noun. Ra, fatha, ra. Ba, shadda, fatha is bi. Bi. You have to pronounce it twice, because one letter is a sukoon, the other letter has a kasra. Bi. Bi rabbi. Bi rabbi. I seek refuge in. This is in, but not in as in inside. In is the preposition that matches the verb seek refuge here. So this is a prefix to indicate in, as you can see here. Bi rabbi. Rabb is I would say master, and God is ilah in Arabic, because Rabb means Lord or master. So if the husband in a household would be Rabb al-Bayt, the master of the house or the Lord of the house. And see this alif lam and followed by a letter that has shadda, so the lam here is not enunciated. So you will not say al-nas. No, this is lam shamsiyya or solar lam. Noon shadda fatha is na. Alif vowel, because there's a fatha before it and a sukoon on top of it. Alif mad. Sin kasra si. An-nas. An-nas. The plural of insan, person or human. Nas is humans or mankind, as it states in the translation. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord or the Master of mankind, the King of mankind, the God of mankind. From what? Min. Sharri, the evil of. Al-waswas al-khannas, the whisperer, the one who withdraws. which is the devil. The devil is continuously whispering in everyone's ears so that they commit sins. However, the one who withdraws when you mention God, he is very weak towards that. So let us say, for example, you are sitting in your house and your mind starts to think about different sins. If you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, you no longer hear the whispers. Why? Because the shaitan or the devil is weak. Khannas, the one who withdraws. So he whispers, but he withdraws when you strengthen yourself through your faith in God. Ignore this annotation here. So let us take this ayah or this verse to continue our reading exercise. Mim fatha ma, lam kasra li, kaf kasra ki, maliki, king of. Alif lam qamariya, lam shamsiya. So we cannot pronounce it without using the third letter. Noon shadda fatha is na. Alif vowel, sin kasra si, annas or annasi. Annasi, if you will segue from the second verse to the third verse immediately. Malikin nasi ilahin nasi. Sorry, that was a Quranic recitation rule or tajweed between the noon and the sheen here. If you will stop, you say annas. If you will continue reading without stopping, Malikin nasi ilahin nas, and so on and so forth. So قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس. Take a breath and then إله الناس, and so on and so forth. Alif, Hamzat qat or cutting Hamza. Kasra is E. Lam, Fatha is La. Ignore this annotation. Ha, Kasra Hi, Ilahi. Again, An-Nas, God of mankind. Ilahin Nas. Mim, Kasra, Mi. Noon without a diacritic means noon with a sukun. And as you can see here, in the Quran, the sukun is written as the head of a ha, very small head of a ha. You will also see the traditional circle, but that is mostly in rhetoric, not in Quran. Mim kasra mi, noon sukun n, min. Sha fatha sha. Ra shadda kasra is rri, sharri. Al here. Most of the time in the Quran, if it is a lam qamariya or a lunar lam, you will see a sukun atop it. And of course, the letter following it does not have a shadda. So this tells you that this is a lunar lam. Al. Waw fatha wa. Sin sukun s. Waw fatha wa. Alif mad. Sin kasra si. Al was wasi. But if you will not continue reading, you end with the sukun. Al waswas. Alif lam the. There's a sukun here and no shadda on the letter following it. So this means that this is a lunar lam, not a solar lam. Al kha fatha kha. Noon shadda fatha na. Alif mad. Sin kasra si. Al-Khannas. Al-Khannas. You can continue reading this verse, these verses, or this chapter, or this surah, and you can play it here and listen to the recitation to compare with your pronunciation, because I am not there physically with you to compare. Okay, so, and this is the beginning. Whenever we start any work, we say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Actually, this is for a different. Let me remove these. I was practicing PostgreSQL. Now, let us take a speaking exercise. You will have to repeat after me, and you also have the recitation here so that you can compare your pronunciations. Qaf, Dhamma, and I would say implement the same system for reading as well. Say the letter with its respective diacritic, then the entire word, then say the word itself. Qaf, Dhamma, Qu. Lam, Sukun, L. Qul, Qul, say. Ha, Dhamma, Hu. Waw, Fatha, Wa. Huwa, he. It is capitalized here out of respect to God because he refers to God or Allah. Allah is always written in in these four letters. Allah, the name of God, or the tetragrammaton, because it is four letters. The only difference would be the diacritic at the end, depending on the grammatical syntax of the divine word. We do not say of Allah out of respect. And it is always with a heavy lam, except when the divine word is preceded by a kasra or ends with a kasra. It then becomes a light la. Lahi, for example. But otherwise it is Allah with a heavy lam. And this is an exception for lams because lam fatha is la, not la. But here there is an exception, Allah. And it is always written in this style, the divine word. Alif, hamzat qat' or cutting hamza, fatha is a. Ha, fatha, ha. Dal, this is, if you recall, when we took the tanween al-dhamm or double dhammas or double diacritics, sometimes it is written as 6 and a waw or a 6 and a 9, depending on how you look at it, though I will not say 6 and 9 because it has a very disgusting meaning behind it. Though people hearing this will probably call me, they will probably try to insult me because they take these matters very trivially. I do not. We have certain sanctities in Islam that we do not violate. In the West, they do violate it easily. That is their prerogative, not my own. So these are two dhammas. So dal, tanween al-dhamm is dun. But if it is with a sukun, d. So ahadun. But again, we only say ahadun if you will connect it with the next sentence. If you will stop, you will say ahad. Practice it with both the diacritic written and the sukun. You do not have to read it quickly at this level yet until you grasp the foundation firmly. Then you can continue. Then you can start reading quicker. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Sorry, that was qalqala again, Quranic recitation. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say that He or Allah is one. It is not 3 in 1. It is not 5 in 1. It is not 6 in 1, 10 in 1. There is only one God. Because if a ship with two captains sink, what do you think happens when a universe has more than one God? They will fight amongst each other. That is why Greek mythology is, Greek mythology. Allahu, you do not say Allahu as-samad. This is a connecting hamza, remember? So you will fuse it. Allahu as-samad. You fuse. But let us take a look at this word before we fuse. You do not see the sukun here. There is a shadda on the sad, which means that this is a lam shamsiyya or a solar lamp, so you do not pronounce it. صاد شد فتحة is الصا. Mim fatha is ma. Dal dhamma is do. As-samadu or as-samad. Allahus, Allahus, Allahus. So it is as if these do not exist. Ha dhamma followed immediately by sad shadda fatha in pronunciation. That is the purpose of the connecting hamza, to create a smooth transition. Allahus, Allahus samad. See, I skipped this with the mouse. Allahus samadu or as-samad. God or Allah is the one that lasts everything. So you can say the eternal or the absolute. So if everything dies, he does not die. Lam, negation of the past. Lam, fatha, mim, la, mim, sukun, lam. Ya, fatha, ya. Lam, kasra, li. Dal, sukun, d. Yalid. He never gave birth. Because if a god gives birth, that means that a god by definition is a perfect divine being. When you say that God gave birth, that means that God is imperfect, because if you give birth, that means you are lacking. You need companionship, you need a wife, and you need offspring. You have a desire. That is an imperfection. So you cannot attribute an imperfection to a perfect being. Lam yalid. Wa is and. Waw fatha wa. Lam fatha la. Mim sukun walam. And he did not. Ya dhamma you. Waw mad woo. Lam fatha la. Dal sukun d. Yulad. And he was never begotten or was never born. So a god cannot be born, because then a god is not perfect, as opposed to what they claim about Prophet Jesus or Prophet Yeshua, peace be upon him, that he was born. If he was born, he is not God. And for people claiming to say that he is a part of God, I would say Prophet Adam, who does not have a father or a mother, is more miraculous than Prophet Jesus, who has a mother but not a father. And then there's the argument, why was he born at the time of Prophet Jesus, and what happened between Prophet Adam and Prophet Jesus? People will say, oh, those do not count, they're in hell. That does not make any sense, because it is unfair. Walam, and he did not. Ya, fatha ya. Kaf, dhamma, ku, nun, sukun, yakun. Lahu. Lam, shadda, fatha, la. Ha dhammahu wa lam yakun lahu. Here it says is, and I know I said in Arabic there is no verb to be, but I will cover this after we are done with the exercises. I will cover this. I will return to Clip Studio to cover how the verb to be functions in Arabic. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ. Kaf dhamma, ignore this annotation right here. Kaf dhamma ku. Fa dhamma fu. Waw, two fathas or tanween al-fath. One. And if you recall, we said in tanween al-fath only, we always add an alif at the end. And the tanween is on the letter itself, not on the alif. Kufu one. Kufu one equivalent. Alif Hamzat qata or cutting hamza. Fatha is a. Ha fatha ha. Ignore this meme here. This is for Quranic recitation. These are two dhammas here. Dal tanween al-dhamm or two dhammas is dun. Ahadun or ahad. Walam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Because a god is perfect, he cannot have an equivalent. If he does have an equivalent, he is imperfect, so that means he is not God. And that is the end of the surah. Let us cover verb to be quickly before I forget. So, verb to be. When I said Arabic does not have verb to be, I meant a traditional verb to be, which is I am, he is, she is, and so on and so forth. As you saw in the conjugation chart, we did not have these for the pronouns. However, there is a verb that indicates existence or being, and that is from the noun kaun. Kaun means universe, but it also means existence. Or you could think of it as the root of the word to be or to exist. The past tense for it is kana, if you recall. Kana. That is the past tense, of course, for singular masculine. Past tense. This root here is used for the present tense, with the differences in diacritics, of course. Present tense. And I should say this is a verb. This is a verb. And the imperative, kun. This is, of course, for singular masculine imperative. So how would I use this verb? I will show you in just a moment. If I want to say I am, but it depends on how you say the sentence. If you are saying I am eating, you will not say ana, then this verb with the conjugation, and then the verb eating. You will say I eat. We do not have gerundivs. Actually, gerundiv is a noun. We do not have that style in, I forgot what that was called, present principle, I believe. We do not have that in Arabic. However, if I want to say, this is why I did not cover this verb, because it is confusing with usage. It is intermediate or advanced level. If I want to say I would be grateful, I would say ana, and since this is future tense, I would say sa or saufa, so I will add sa, and then the conjugation for the present tense with respect to ana, akunu, sa'akunu. Grateful is shakiran. Shakiran. Ana sa'akunu shakiran. I would be or I will be grateful. This is where the verb to be plays a role. But you never say I am Ahmed, for example. You would say Ana Ahmed. You would not say Ana akunu Ahmed. This is what I meant when I said the verb to be does not exist. Because technically this is to exist, but it could also be to be. This is why I did not cover this verb, to avoid confusion, but you have the information. If you wish to practice it further, go ahead. If not, you can simply abide by what we have covered so far. And you could probably find better videos than the ones that I am presenting, to be quite honest, to learn Arabic. I would be surprised if anyone was watching these tutorials, to be quite honest. So we have finished with this. This chapter, the description of God or the description of Allah, is short for a reason. The reason is that any person of any age can define who Allah is. If you ask a 6-year-old, and yes, we do have 6-year-olds who memorize the entirety of the Quran, who is God, they can tell you in these four verses who God is. In addition, the reason this chapter is small is because if you want to define God in any religion, these are the criteria. These are the criteria that must be satisfied in any religion that claims to have that one true God. Is God one in that religion? Yes, that is one portion of the checklist checked. Does he last everything? Is he eternal? Yes, okay. Has he given birth or was born? If yes, then that is not a God. Does he have an equivalent? Yes, then he is not God. All these four criteria must be satisfied together. In the jargon of programming language, these are all followed by an AND operator or an AND gate, which means that all inputs must be correct, must be true for the output to be true. So all of these criteria must be fulfilled. All of them, all four, must be fulfilled in the God that is claimed to be God, for that being to actually be God. So for this portion, I will read the verse and you can write without looking, simply from listening to how I pronounce the letter. I know that I have a thick accent, so if you do not like my accent, you can listen to the recitation, though it might be a bit quick for you to listen to. You can adjust the practice or the exercise as you see fit. So here, this is the chapter called At-Tariq, and you can read about what the Tariq is. And I think NASA released a research saying that there is a star that is going to collide with the Earth, which is actually mentioned here, the piercing star. When the Day of Judgment starts, then there will be cosmic transformations. And if you'd like to read more about these cosmic transformations, let's see, where was the contents? You can read Zalzala, the earthquake. You can read the Qari'ah. You can read, where is it? Al-Ghashiyah. Oh, actually, this is about the Day of Judgment before the earth is destroyed. The sundering, Al-Inshiqaq. The cleaving, Al-Infitar. At-Takwir, the overthrowing. I do not think this is a correct translation for the word takwir. But yeah, those chapters give indication to what you can expect when the earth is destroyed at the end times. Well, assuming we all live till that day. I may not be alive to witness it. So this will be a listening exercise and a writing exercise at the same time. Fa fatha fa, lam sukun l, ya fatha ya, nun sukun n, dha dhamma dhu, ra كسرة ري فلينظر فلينظر فلينظر. I helped you with this first word. I should not be stating the diacritics because then I am revealing the answer. But this was to start you off with the listening exercise. Now I will not be saying the diacritics. I will just repeat the word 3 times before moving on to the next word. Al-insan. Do not look at the word that I am reading now because there are annotations that will be different than how you actually spell the word. So focus solely on the word that you are hearing. If you would like to review what I am saying, you can look. However, listen to what I am saying instead because certain annotations replace letters in Arabic, at least in this calligraphical form. Al-insan. Al-insan. Next word is mimma. 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 Next word is khuliqa. Khuliqa or khuliqa with a sukun. Khuliqa or khuliqa. Khuliqa. The sentence together is فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق. Man should look at what he was created from. Next sentence is خلق. 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 Next word is min. 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 Next word is ma. In. Or with a sukun is ma. Now I said it with a sukun so that you are not confused with the diacritic at the last letter. Ma. Ma. Or as it is written here, ma. In. Ma. In. Next word is دافق. دافق. دافق or دافق. دافق. The entire sentence is خلق من ماء دافق. Ejected liquid. Ma is liquid or water. And the ejected liquid here means the semen, and it is mostly water. خلق من ماء دافق, which comes from, and this is answered in the next verse, which is our next sentence. The word is يخرج. 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 If you look at the way the word is written here, you would see that the ya is written in a strange form. Most books write any letter that is shaped as a plate before a kha or jim or ha in this style. So a ya can be written like this, but with the 2 dots here. A ta, a ba, a noon. Fa, I believe, yes, too, because the fa does have a plate of sorts. So any letter that is written with a plate in the middle of the word could be written fused with a kha or with a jim or with a ha in such a manner. You do not have to learn that format if you do not wish to. After yakhruju, next word is min. 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 Next word is bayni. 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 Next word is as-sulbi. Without a certain addition, and I will not specify. Sulbi. So without the addition, it is sulbi. With the addition, it is as-sulbi. You should know by now what this means. Lastly, we have, and there is an and here. I am only specifying this to make it easier. وَالتَّرَائِبِ. وَالتَّرَائِبِ. Without the and without the extra addition, it is تَرَائِبِ. تَرَائِبِ. With the addition, it is التَّرَائِبِ. With and, وَالتَّرَائِبِ. The full sentence is يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب. This liquid, the semen, comes from or exits from between the rib cage and the backbone. It does not seem sensical because the semen is produced in the testes. So how does it? And I know people will say sperm is made in the testes. The extra additions are semen, but it's still the same. There is no need to be pedantic here. Embryologically, the testes are formed above the kidneys, just below, between the rib cage and the backbone. So if you take a look at this, sorry, that is OBS, the program I am using to record. So let us say I am drawing okay, it is rather difficult to draw freely with this tablet. I am not accustomed to it. And you have the ribs and the sternum and the ribs, but let us pretend this is from the posterior side, and these include the floating ribs that do not have an attachment. And then you have what is known as the love handles here, and then the pelvis. So the kidneys are somewhere here. It is formed here. Then it rotates around the side, and this is the backbone, of course. The sacrum, the coccyx, and lumbar regions. So this is the backbone, this is the ribs. So it comes from here, rotates, so it moves around the side. So this is the rib cage. Here is the love handle, the kidneys. So it moves to the front. And this is the rib cage from the front. So after it, and then they drop towards the pubic region. That is how the testes are. And this is a scientific miracle in the Quran, which was revealed around 1442 years ago in the middle of the desert, without any laboratory equipment to investigate this at all. And you will also, this is not the only scientific piece of information in the Quran you will also find the formation of the embryo in a mother's womb, listed in detail in one verse. And scientists write about embryos in books. That is the miracle of the Quran.